Yo, what's going on, everybody? Just straight out of Boston here, aka the King of Boston. So we're back for episode 21 of my NBA 2K15 My League series here with the Indiana Pacers. And today we are ready for the 2016 offseason. As you can see, Kevin Garnett gets into the Hall of Fame and a couple other guys retire and all that. Here is the lottery, and you can see that pick that we traded to the Pelicans for Kelly Oubre ends up as the 4th pick. So something to keep an eye on. We'll see who they draft with him. I don't think I show it in this video, but anyway, we're going to run through this really quickly to try to keep up, but we are looking at new assistant coaches here, and you can see some pretty interesting names here. Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, but I end up not signing any of those guys. I end up going with, and you will see him pop up down here eventually, there he is, Vince Carter, only because he actually had decent ratings out of the cool NBA players that I wanted to get, so went with Vince Carter, and you can see we're going to pick up Tyler Ennis's player, or his team option. He had a team option for the second year, or the third year of his rookie contract. All rookie contracts are 2 years with 2 team options. You can take a look at whose options were picked up, whose were not, and I think this also has player options as well, so who opted in, who opted out, and all that. But anyway, this ended up being a pretty big free agent class. You can't really tell from this screen, but you will see it in a bit. And you can see we're going to end up, I decided to only offer a qualifying offer to KJ McDaniels. I didn't feel like I needed to pay Patrick Young the $1.26 million. He is a 71 overall, and maybe in hindsight I could have used him at the very least as a reserve. But either way, it's not a big deal. I don't think he's gonna cost us the championship or anything. So we're heading into the NBA draft, and I didn't own a single draft pick heading into this draft, so I knew it was going to be a quiet draft. But I immediately targeted a guy that I wanted to get as my new backup point guard. I wanted to upgrade over Tyler Ennis, and I'm going after Tyus Young. And you can see I'm starting out with this package here. I take Cauley-Stein and Clint Capella off. They won't do Ennis for Tyus Jones straight up, so I end up eventually just throwing in a second-round pick, and they eventually do the trade. So anyway, I wanted to upgrade to Tyus Young. Tyus Young had a really good rookie season for them last year. He was a guy I wanted in the draft, but he was taken ahead of my late first-round pick in last year's draft. And I think he ended up averaging 10 and 7 in his first season. So I really wanted to. I also felt like Tyler Ennis was good, but he wasn't. He certainly wasn't an untouchable for me. I certainly felt like I could have upgraded that spot. So I thought it was worth the second round pick. We get Tyus Jones, also a little bit younger. So hopefully that will help us out a little bit on the bench. And then you can take a look at this free agent class. Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and Damian Lillard are the top 4 free agents. That would be quite the big 4. Now 2 of them are restricted free agents. Actually, DeMar DeRozan is in there as well, but yeah, 2 of them are restricted. Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard also, they are the restricted free agents, so can't quite form the big 4 or whatever. But either way, we're just going to pretty much try to retool our bench here a little bit. No major signings. We're going to go after Luis Scola and Udonis Haslem as backup big men. And you can see I'm trying to get the price up to where Haslem will at least ponder it. I'm also going to go after Mike Miller here in a moment. You'll see it in just a sec. But we get Udonis Haslem, advance a couple of days, and we end up eventually picking up Luis Scola. That's going to replace Anthony Tolliver, who expired and went into free agency. Here we're going to pick up Mike Miller. We're going to offer him $920,000. He's likely going to be a reserve for us, but can always use shooting on the bench. And then we're also going to I'm not going to make an attempt to re-sign KJ McDaniels just yet because he is a restricted free agent. So if he does sign an offer sheet, we can match it, go over the cap to sign it, or hopefully, or not hopefully, because I'd like to lock him up for multiple years, but worst case scenario, he might just accept the qualifying offer and be back for 1 year. But you can see I'm just pretty much simulating the rest of free agency here. There were no other moves I wanted to do, and there we go. KJ McDaniels takes that 1 year qualifying offer. So that pretty much, fills out our bench. Jones, McDaniels, we still have Kelly Oubre, and then, probably Luis Scola gets the nod over Haslem for now, and then we still have Cauley-Stein. So our bench still looks like it's going to be pretty good. And here was a big thing I noticed. I didn't really expect it because Paul Millsap's only 31 years old, but he declines to a 78 overall. Was not really expecting that. Thought he might go down an overall point or 2. Did not think he was going to go down 4 overall points. So that'll be interesting to see. Millsap, was probably the 5th best player in our starting 5 last season. So, I've talked about upgrading the front court before, but I think they played so well in the second half that I really didn't want to shake up the starting 5 at all. So, coming into the season, I didn't think I was going to make any moves, but now I'm thinking, well, Millsap's a 78, he's making a lot of money. We have a couple young players on our bench that maybe we could use as assets. We don't have a ton of assets. We really did expend all of our assets already. Oh, and here we're going to sign Mo Williams. We needed to fill out the 13th roster spot, so I go after Williams. He can be our 3rd point guard. You should have 3 point guards on the roster as it is. I was probably going to go after a new one anyway, but take a look at the rotation. But yeah, we've kind of used up a lot of our assets. I don't want to trade Kelly Oubre, which, you know, he would be our biggest chip left, but I really want to hold on to him. So other than that, I don't want to trade Cauley Stein. I mean, maybe Tyus Jones I would consider trading depending on how he plays. KJ McDaniels, I think, would likely be the guy that we would try to use as the sweetener, and then maybe one of our first-round picks, but you can see our first-round picks are not worth much. So here's just a couple of trades that I found in the Trade Finder. I'm not heavily considering any of these, but I thought they were interesting. Randolph is an expiring. That helps us free up our cap a little bit quicker, plus we get a first-round pick. Ryan Anderson is a player I really think would fit in with our team. He stretches the floor and also rebounds the ball. It's really what I want out of that 4 spot. It's why I kind of drafted it's why I signed Paul Millsap in the first place. He sort of does that. Exactly, and we can get Sullinger and Gasol as well, both of those guys. Here was a big one. I just kind of threw this in for last, but DeAndre and Paul Millsap for Aldridge and Roy Hibbert. Obviously, you guys know we had Hibbert last year, or the season 1. And here is the result of some of the free agency moves. Anthony Davis ends up in Brooklyn. Did not see that coming, so the Pelicans did not re-sign him. I don't know why they didn't do that, because he was restricted, so they could have re-signed him, but whatever. Dwight Howard ends up at Denver. That was a pretty big surprise as well. This Denver team doesn't look like it's too good. And Harrison Barnes ends up replacing Kevin Durant in Oklahoma City, so that means Kevin Durant went somewhere, and Kevin Durant ends up signing with the Charlotte Hornets, the team that we faced in the conference finals last season. So Charlotte just got a whole lot better. That is not good news for us. That makes the Eastern Conference even better. Now, LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis in the same conference, and Kevin Durant goes to, you know, what was ended up being the second best team in the conference last year. So that's going to be tough. That is going to be really tough. I didn't see where DeMar DeRozan went. I think he probably re-signed with Toronto, but I could be wrong. They obviously won, what, 50 or 60 games last. They won 66 games last year, so if they lost him, that would be a big blow to them. They were probably the best team in the conference, but you know what I mean when I say Charlotte was the second best. They lost in the conference finals, so. Anyway, yeah, that is pretty much going to do it. That was pretty quiet offseason. We didn't make too many moves, but like I said, let me know what you think about, you know, maybe trying to flip Millsap. That could be something we do midseason as well. I'm not hellbent on moving Millsap. I just sort of think it's the move that we might... That might be the one move we have left to make to seal up, you know, a title contender. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, but that's pretty much going to do it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you did enjoy. I'm out. Peace.